everyone. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been our first event in a while. We're super excited to kick off Walking Houston again in 2024 with Skanska. I want to thank all our members, guests, sponsors, and of course our host Skanska for having us. Thank you very much. Skanska is a multinational construction and development company based in Sweden. They've won numerous green building awards and have a major presence in Europe and North America. Skanska is consistently among the top 10 largest builders in the world. This building, 1550 on the Green, is a 28-story, 375,000 square foot Class A office building overlooking one of downtown Houston's most activated parks, Discovery Green, which I believe came online in about 2008, and there's been a ton of development around this area since that time. This building includes a 7,000 square foot spa and gym space, 9,400 square feet of rooftop event space, which is the summit that we're in right now, and also 7,000 square feet of ground floor retail space with an expansive patio that spills onto Discovery Green. Before we get into our discussion, I want to thank our event sponsors. We have Anchor Construction in the crowd. They are our gold sponsor, so thank you all very much for making this event happen. They're a design, build, construction company. We have Fidelity National Title here with us, Charles Mansour, closing attorney, as our silver sponsor. They specialize in 1031 exchanges and closings of all kinds for different properties. On our bronze sponsors, we have Cultivate Land and Gin Design Group. Cultivate Land has done numerous landscape architecture projects in the inner loop, and they've also are involved in a very exciting project called Indigo in Richmond, Texas, which is a very walkable development. Gin Design Group, I think a lot of us know Gin Design Group. They are a small team, but very well equipped. They do a lot of retail and restaurant around Houston, including the two retail spaces below. They are also the architecture firms for the two spaces in this building. All right, so before we start, Brandon, as our gold sponsor from Anchor, if you can come up here, maybe just say a couple of things about your company and why you love Walking Houston.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm really excited. Such a beautiful space. Love to be a part of it. The reason I'm here is because of Randy. So get to know Randy if you don't know him. Get to know Walking Houston if you don't know that team as well. It's a really great opportunity for us to all connect and learn about these new developments and network. I've been in Houston for about 10 years. I've been with Anchor Construction for about 2 years. I'm a business relationship manager. We're a design build firm. We also just act as general contractors. We're vertically integrated with civil, in-house design, and of course construction, building all kinds of cool projects all over the state of Texas. We're growing very fast, so if you haven't heard of us, you will very soon. And then just happy to be here. If we can do anything to help any of you, please let me know. And thank you, Randy, for inviting us over. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. With that, let's get into the discussion with our esteemed panel over here. So today we have Benjamin Llana, Seán Murphy, and Brandon Hendricks with us. Benjamin is Vice President of Real Estate Development with Skanska. Seán is Region Director of Skanska Integrated Solutions. And Brandon is Development Manager with Skanska Commercial Development. I really appreciate having all of you here today. I know that all of you have played an integral part in the development of this project, with some of you more focused on different stages throughout the development. So I'm really happy we can have kind of all of you guys here together. With that being said, I think we'll start with you, Benjamin. Ben. We're starting with Ben. So Skanska is an extremely strategic company. So before we get into the development of 1550 on the Green, I wanted to ask you about the downtown land acquisition announced in October 2019. At that time, it was reported that Skanska purchased 4 sites next to Discovery Green, including the site we're on now. Skanska has also developed the Bank of America Tower on Capitol Street in downtown. So my question is, why is Skanska so heavily invested in downtown Houston? And can you tell us a little bit more about how the company was able to assemble these extremely strategic parcels?
Yeah, so on the first question, why downtown Houston, you said we're international and everything else. Our entire team is Houston-based, so we're Houstonians and proud Houstonians and want to see kind of a vibrant, walkable downtown. And we've had great kind of alignment with the tenant base that's in downtown Houston, so they like what we do, and we're doing kind of deliver at a very high level kind of sustainability and these type of spaces in our buildings at Bank of America Tower and here. So there's a lot more alignment of that in downtown Houston than you would have like in West Houston or other parts of Houston.
More demand for it down here.
Yeah. And then on the land acquisition side, so we acquired at the end of 2019. We tried to acquire the block between here and the Four Seasons, which is the full block.
Yeah.
And when we approached, it was a high net worth German lady that we approached.
Interesting.
And we tried to buy that. And she says, no, I don't want to sell that. I own these 4 blocks, and I'll sell them only if I can sell all 4 of them. So it was actually just one transaction. We bought all 4 blocks in one transaction.
Oh, wow.
So we're the first group that actually offered to buy all of them at once. Previously, there'd been people approached to buy the one block, and she kept on saying no. So we were able to buy this block, the block 251, if you know your block numbers, I guess. The block between here and
Got the map online.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The block between here and the Four Seasons, and the block just south of that. The 4th property is like some random 5,000 square feet on another block in downtown Houston. So,
Okay.
And then in early 2020, February 2020, Norton Rose Fulbright kind of approached us, and after we acquired it, asked us what we were doing, and they said they would be interested in being a kind of a boutique building on the park, and that's how we started the conversations with Norton Rose Fulbright. We initially thought this property would be, because of the weird shape, would be a multifamily project, and we were kind of going down the path of looking at a multifamily project, and with Norton Rose coming and then committing in December 2020 to take about a third of the building, we pivoted to office. So, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic when an anchor tenant comes to you and says, what are you doing? Well, we don't be an anchor tenant. That's pretty sweet. Okay, very cool, very cool. Well, that's fantastic. I know the Downtown Management District is thrilled to have you guys as a huge investor here in the CBD. So, Seán, I'd like to continue discussion with you. So you guys have acquired the land, and now you have an extremely highly visible piece of land right off the park that everyone's going to be watching during construction, during opening, everything. So the orientation of the site is not easy, but when done properly, it can turn into something incredible as we're witnessing today. So I want to start with, what was the feeling and experience you wanted occupants and passerbys alike to feel from this tower? It feels like a daunting task, like I said, being right in one of the most central areas of Houston, but tell me a little bit more about what your vision was for that, the company's vision.
Yeah, it's a great question. The site being on the last developable site that is facing Discovery Green, it was, kind of a dream of our team at the time to, work on something so challenging like this, and being in crescent shape, it really did present a lot of challenges, and also the neighboring building not facing the park either gave us an opportunity to really front that park in a multifaceted way. And one of the feelings that we were trying to go for was to really connect with the park, to be an extension of the park. And during the master planning period, we strategically designed this building to kind of step back, right? So we wouldn't block the future development's views of the park as well. And then the step up each time, was a continuation of the park in each of those facets. When you're in the park, we wanted the user or the pedestrian to feel like they could look across the canopy or underneath the canopy and feel connected to the facade. And given that it has these 6 facets, right, that a pedestrian could walk and have this sense of discovery as they're curving around the site, as well as that, that sense of shade, which is so important for the pedestrian in this town.
Yes.
We really wanted to continue that canopy. And if you've ever been to the original Shake Shack in Madison Park in New York, you know how popular that space is. It just makes the pedestrian feel cozy, and it's a real destination, right? Like, so we wanted to beckon people, pedestrians to the storefront, and to feel like that alfresco dining, beautiful comfortable, cozy neighborhood, right? So, Market Square as well, at the time when we were thinking about this as part of the anchor point of downtown, Market Square anchors that neighborhood of downtown.
On the north
we wanted
side,
to be that here as well. So,
no, you've hit on so many points, because a lot of office buildings, I think it's getting better now, but a lot of them are kind of, you have this huge block and you build this huge tower in the middle and this big entrance, and it just feels kind of empty, and it's like, okay, I don't work at this building, so I have nothing to do with this. But with this being like doing away with the tunnels, kind of bringing the retail to the surface, engaging the park, it's a lot different and it's a lot more engaging. And then your comment on the shade and like the awnings and all of that, I think, we've seen a few different studies from like the Montrose Livable Studies District, where the same time of day you can have a 20-degree different in temperature, depending on the landscape architecture, and depending on if there's greenery around. So that's how we get the city more walkable. You have to design for walkability. So
yeah, it's a great point. We deliberately did not connect to the tunnels or to the sky bridges because of, as you mentioned, we did Bank of America Tower, which was tunnel connected. We really felt like here we wanted to do something much different. It was designed during COVID, and people crave that outside feeling as well as that shelter. So we wanted to provide that opportunity as well.
Yeah. And even on that Bank of America tower, y'all did something different, right?
Yeah.
You had like that tunnel was exposed to the street, which was really cool. Okay. All right. So you have the vision. Oh, thank you. Okay. So you have the vision, and now it's time to make it a reality. So I have to ask, how did you decide to partner with architecture firm BIG? Bjarke Ingels Group, originally out of Copenhagen, right? So it makes a lot of sense. We see the building. It makes perfect sense now. But there's a ton of architecture firms out there. They all have a great track records. And I believe this is only the second building in Texas that BIG has been involved in. So how did y'all decide on BIG?
Yeah, this was BIG's first building in Texas.
Okay, perfect.
And as you all know, they're really famous for doing large statements, right? And really thinking outside of the box. And of course, we have the same, amazing talent here in Houston. But we kind of wanted to do something unique and different in that this side of downtown is a little bit pioneering, right? Like Class A office buildings typically don't cross the side of Main Street. Mm-hmm. And that was a lost opportunity, we felt like, and we wanted to make a splash and do something, quite large, something to get people's attention and to attract them over here.
Yeah. The elevations from the side of the building are incredible. You just don't see that in Houston.
Right, yeah, they really think out of the box, and they did a fantastic job. They were very creative right from the beginning. They had multiple solutions for every problem. They were a great firm to work with in every way, and yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that this is their first building in Texas. That's awesome. I have one more question, kind of more, still about the design. Before we move on, I want to touch base on how this kind of got underway during COVID-19, right? And that kind of flipped the real estate industry upside down in many ways. So with that in mind, what design features were included to kind of take into account the new reality and that kind of set the stage for the success of 1550?
There was a number of advantages to the crescent-shaped site being so narrow, and I'm sure Brandon will talk more about that as well, but one of them is that we didn't have to have such deep retail bays at the bottom, so that sense of being in touch with the outside during COVID was very necessary, right? Like people wanted to feel like they were close to the door, close to the window. Yeah. And there was a preference to be outside at that point, and I think it's carried on, which is great. As you continue up the building, you're never more than 30 feet from daylight, because of that unique side core design that the narrow site provided. So there were some great features like that, among many others that you'll hear about on the tour.
Yeah, we almost felt like we were going to overreact to. We were in COVID designing it, and it was like, should we design niches in the architecture for hand sanitizers and not have doors on the bathroom?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't know where.
Great idea. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, it's crazy that when you're in the middle of building a tower and COVID hits, it's like you don't know what to do.
Yeah, and then we made a pretty heavy investment in the MEP systems as well, which I think health and wellness is always going to be kind of desirable and marketable, but from an air quality perspective, we can flush a floor. So this was kind of COVID thinking, but still applicable today. So if someone was sick, you can actually flush and exchange all the floor air on the floor in an hour. So
that's incredible.
Call from a tenant. And then we have a bipolar ionization system, which is kind of a system that takes kind of particulates out of the air. So we did make some heavy investment on the MEP side as well, kind of in reaction to COVID.
Awesome.
As well as being 100% designed while everyone was remote, right? Nobody was at the office. Hardly anyone came to the job site, right? So it was a really unique and challenging opportunity for the whole team.
That is extremely challenging. Yeah. All right. Well, Brandon, I would like to turn my attention to the construction and opening of this building back in February of this year. I really love this part of downtown, and I remember I was walking by as this building was being built, and you've got Embassy Suites fully functioning, operating, and 1550 on the green is like inches from it, and it's going up, and it's on this small site, crescent-shaped site. I think the cranes here were kind of more reminiscent of those like in New York, those kind of vertical cranes that you don't want to, when you have a lot of density nearby. So I can imagine that this site is relatively small, curved, and the building had to be constructed around a fully operating and busy hotel, the Embassy Suites. What were some of the challenges you encountered during the construction of this building?
Yeah, you just literally hit on them. Literally, like you said, if you're walking from the street, one thing you don't realize is that there's 2 levels of parking below. So that's our basement. And so if you were during construction, we're building the foundation. So we dig the 45-foot hole in the ground. And so it looked like the Embassy Suites was literally on the side of a cliff. And so having to shore that up while you're doing construction, it's literally, if you're looking at the basement, we have almost a 0 lot line. And so that's very unique to downtown, right? So being able to build a building inches away from an existing hotel that had to remain functional and operational was extremely challenging, right? So that's one aspect. And then secondly, I would just say, this part of downtown is very civic, is very public. Mm-hmm. The finish line of the marathon is our front door. So being able to be operational, during construction during those times was extremely challenging, right? So, also, like I mentioned, the hotel is adjacent to us. So being able to install the curtain wall panels or erect, concrete walls blindly while the cranes are in the front of the park, it was just very challenging. So kudos actually to our construction team to do that safely. We had a couple close calls, but the building turned out really well, and the team learned a lot from an operational standpoint, but also from a life safety standpoint.
Excellent. No, glad to hear it. It was always just super, watching the construction was so interesting to me, and here we are in the finished building, but these buildings take 2 years, 1.5 years to build, and so much design and land acquisition before. It's just such a process, It's like, I don't think people who are at industry really understand what goes into it, and then you add an operational hotel right next to it, it really complicates things. So, no, I'm glad to see it work out really well. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into how 1550 on the Green has been able to see brisk leasing activity while other buildings in Houston are having a bit of a harder time. I know you guys have gotten some great tenants that have been moving around downtown. I see that Norton Rose Fulbright has taken 118,000 square feet from floors 20 to 26. So we're on 28. Looks like there's a floor between us and them. Boston's Consulting Group just signed on with a little over 53,000 square feet. So congratulations on that as well. I believe that brings the lease to 50% leased at this time, and it looks like all your retail spaces are called for at this time as well, which I'm extremely excited about as someone who's, maybe not in the office, but I can come visit this building and, walk by the park, because I go to this park a lot, and just hit the retail. Yep. How does 1550 on the Green manage to stand out among its peers in this environment, the hybrid work environment, and what were some of the main features that stood out to these particular tenants and during the discussions?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and it's a question that I think everyone's trying to solve together in this environment that we live in. But I would answer it by saying people need a reason to come to work. Just very simply, you need a reason to come to work. And so designing a building that allows people to want to come to work was one of the things that I think we were able to solve. The amenities that you see, the things that Ben talked about, the sustainability, the lifestyle, the wellness, I actually love the fact that the building is so adjacent to the park. So these are reasons why people want to come to work. And so if you're able to design a building in such a way that does that, I think people actually have a choice and they choose to come in.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, I would say I really appreciate the fact that we design and develop the building in such a way that aligns with the age that we live in, right? So from the technology aspect, the building is fully integrated with technology. From the aspect of just being able to design a building that doesn't look gray, it matches the lifestyle that we live in, the choices that we want to do. And so I think designing a building that gives people to want to come to the work, but also designing a building in such a way that allows people to feel like it matches the way that they work, the way they want to build their teams, the way that they want to retain talent. And so those are things that I think we did, and we achieved them pretty well here.
You're so right. I mean, I think this building hits all of those points. And COVID, your comment about you have to make people want to come out, right? Like, people aren't forced to come out to the office anymore. They got to want to come out. I think that's the same thing with retail. Everyone has had to get more creative and better. I think this building really hit that on the nose directly. I know I got everyone's going to have the tour now, but I got a little pre-tour of your gym, and it just feels like a spa,
Yeah.
I mean, I would sign up at that gym even if I wasn't working here,
Yeah.
So I completely agree. I think you guys have done a great job of it. So, well, thank you so much for your comments. This building has been absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to hearing, about y'all's next investments and next building. But before we open it up to questions from the audience, I want to circle back to Ben. Ben, can you tell me a little bit more about what is planned for these surrounding lots?
Yeah, so right now there's no immediate plans, unfortunately. So we actually own the corner of West Arm and Montrose as well.
That's a huge corner.
So we're focused on that project as our next project here in Houston. So we kind of, right now we kind of do one at a time. So that's our next project, and we're very focused on, I don't know if I'd say brisk leasing here, but we're focused on getting the leasing completed here.
Yeah.
So we're 50%, so we still have a lot of work to do here to complete the leasing. So we're focused here at 1550, and then at trying to get the Montrose project started hopefully next year.
So you guys like those projects where every single person in the city is looking at your land and saying, what is going to go here? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's awesome. No, it's a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So, well, thank y'all so much, Ben, Seán, Brandon. Thank y'all so much for the interview. Let's give them a round of applause. So, all right, and let's go ahead and open it up for a few questions from the audience. Did we answer everything? All right, Justin.
Thanks, guys. Great.
Sorry, 1 second. Oh, you can, okay, perfect.
So,
It doesn't amplify.
congrats on the project. Great presentation. I was wondering, it's a bit of a challenging development environment right now, just with costs and interest rates. I was just wondering what kind of opportunities you're seeing that fit with Skanska over the next, 3 years or 5-year horizon, kind of how that's kind of changed Skanska's plans, or, especially locally.
Yeah. No, we're feeling, so historically we've self-financed all of our projects. In this project, we were able to start during COVID, and we got really kind of aggressive construction pricing for this project. But on the Montrose project, we're seeing those challenges right now. We're not immune to the same challenges that everyone else has on the construction side. So the Montrose project is very challenging to make pencil. And then our business model, we're historically a merchant builder. So we develop the projects, lease them up, and then sell them. And in this environment, we have not been able to sell anything nationally, or very few globally. So we're having capital constraint issues as well. So we need to sell some projects to be able to keep on developing. But yeah, so we're not immune to the historically we were, but this is deep enough and kind of impactful enough that we can't self-finance these new projects.
All right.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, and where you see, within that challenging environment, kind of where you see opportunities over the 3 to 5 year horizon?
Yeah, so there are some opportunities we're looking at where there's 100% pre-lease projects that can't get financed, and we're talking about potentially stepping into those, so still trying to be opportunistic about things like that. But still, we're part of our business model is that we have to use our partner business, the building group. So it's going to involve construction. So we're not an investor, just a pure investor. So
You can pivot when
Yeah.
needed. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's good. Next question?
Give me 1 second.
You didn't sign up for that.
Could you speak a little bit about the sustainability of the building in terms of, I think I read an article where Skanska has their own concrete that is low in carbon emissions, things like that, because it's an international company. It has the ability to really develop innovation. And I know that you spoke about this being a LEED Gold, I think? Platinum. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of touching on a little bit what Ben mentioned. So as an organization, traditionally we self-finance, so we don't raise capital, we don't have debt or equity partners. So because of that, we're able to do things traditionally that other developers may not do. And so one of that is obviously sustainability and just kind of going full tilt into that. So every building that we've done in Houston has been LEED Platinum, period. So this building is no exception to that. Fitwel, Energy Star, everything you can basically get, we've had to do and we've done on this building, as well as designing a beautiful product. So I think there is a business case to doing something unique and sustainable without compromising the design. A few other features that we've done is that we actually harvest and collect our rainwater to flush our toilets. So we have a 48,000 gallon rain cistern that collects the water. We reuse that. Like Seán mentioned, the daylighting was a great feature to harvest and kind of monitor that to minimize the light usage. We also have district cooling, so we're not on traditional, building top, rooftop units. We actually use the city energy to actually reproduce that in the building. So those are a few of the features. But overall, I mean, for us, it's a business case and it's something that we're fully involved in.
Do you use your own low carbon emitting?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the touch on the concrete. Yeah. So
The question was, do you use your own low carbon emitting concrete that you've developed?
yeah, so what we did was we redesigned a mix. So this building is mostly concrete. So we were able to choose a 45% carbon reduction because we actually chose a better mix. It's actually a low solution, but it actually had a big impact. And so by doing that, we were able to reduce our carbon emissions by 40%.
And just to layer in on that, like when we helped to pioneer the EC3 tool, which is a tracking tool for carbon emissions. And with Microsoft, and it's open sourced, so it's not it's not something we kept the secret to. We put it out there, and other companies have been using it as well, which we believe one of our values is better together, right? So we put out that for societal benefit, and it's been very well received.
And then we work with like CEMEX. I mean, we're not concrete, so it's like we worked with CEMEX to push them to do this new mix, which and primarily like in the mat foundation, we replaced a bunch, and then as a building like in decks and different mixes for different areas, but kind of worked with CEMEX to push that. So the first time they used the mix we used here was at Bank of America Tower, and then after we did it there, other developers started using it, so it kind of moved the market on the amount of body carbon in the concrete.
So to tag on to that question, do you think that as an international firm, you have the ability to have greater influence because you have projects all over?
Yeah. So like they mentioned, so we are typically one of the 10 largest general contractors in the world, and that's the other side of our business. So with that reach, and we're Swedish-based, and they're much more pioneering and further ahead of us here in the U.S. So we can take some of that knowledge from Europe to here, or kind of push the markets here. We also have clients like Microsoft, like they mentioned, that are pursuing those type of things and pushing us. So we have clients on the construction side that help us develop those type of items as well.
So you're bringing innovation to Texas.
That's right. Yeah, and on the development side, we try to do the same thing. And the question about big is kind of bring some of that European sensibility, or bring different things we're doing in other markets to Houston, where Houston historically can be a little bit behind kind of our other markets on some of the design sensibility things. So.
That was a great question.
You must be a good client.
That was excellent. Yes.
I have a question. So first, thank you for hiring Big. I'm a big fan of your firm. So everything that you just mentioned about innovation and all the aspects for the building and the features, is that part of the, decisions from you as a client, or that was proposed from Big? And you mentioned also that it was very fun to work with them. Can you mention just an aspect that may be different from working with another company?
I'll take this one.
I'll add on to it.
Yeah. No, so so if you step back and look at the building, it's this, they call them towers. So each of these 60 by 60 kind of things, that was Big's main priority, is the clear reading of these 6 towers. So what we brought was, it needs to be good office space as well. So they seemed less concerned about column placement and bay depths and whatever else. Like they just they're more concerned about kind of the icon of it, the big move, right? The big reading of it. So that back and forth, with that kind of creative friction, really created a fun process where we're pushing on what we think the market needs from a marketability perspective, and what's a reasonable layout, and what's efficient, and when they're having the bigger picture on kind of the overall design and aesthetic of it. So, yeah.
They really did push their design agenda. I remember one feature that we really fought them on, which was the fins. They wanted these almost like tree-like log kind of copper, tubes the whole way up. And we ended up settling on this, but it was really hard to kind of pull them over to that. But they eventually, we wanted those views to be unobstructed.
As I say, I hit the views.
Yeah, and so.
I would just add that actually all 3 of us have an architecture background. Some of us are more trying to recover from that more than others. But I would say it was super fun to work with them as well. Like Seán mentioned, they would hold the line, we would hold the line, and out of that came a better product. So super fun to work with them.
Hey guys, thank you so much for organizing this tour. My question is, since I visited this building, I'm visiting 3rd time. First one when I was in University of Houston, I visited as a student and came here when the building was just 1st floor, just columns. And this is my 3rd time. So, and I'm with Anchor Construction right now, the sponsor. So my question is related to the TI. I know Skanska has a big focus on sustainability, right? And we all know that adds up cost a little bit more than the usual building, but in the long run it will take a benefit. But how let's break question into 2 parts. Does that sustainability help you guys to lease your like a BCG, or how it will help you to connect your brand with the company that you're leasing, like all the sustainability and those aspects? And second thing, the lease companies which is coming, you guys are asking them to go for the this building is platinum certified, so you asking them to go for sustainable for the TI improvement or something, or it just like whatever their preference is? It's kind of long question.
Look at me. I can. Yeah, I would say for the first part, honestly, just to be candid with you, I wish every tenant aligned with our values for sustainability. That's not always the case. Just to your point, there's a cost, and honestly, it's not always a motivating factor for them. But I would say for like Norton Rose, our pre-lease tenant, this was definitely something that was a driver. The tenants that we're looking at, also like BCG, this was definitely alignment in their values. But I think the location, the design aspect, the amenities, they maybe trump a little bit sustainability. And then to your second part of your question, which was, what was the second part? Sorry.
They had to build LEED build out.
Oh yeah, so if they're doing a build out like BCG, we're doing LEED Platinum. Their construction interiors part will also be LEED Platinum. Norton Rose,
it's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement, but we actually put a lot into the project so that if they wanted to pursue it, it's a lot easier for them to.
Well, thank you so much. I think we're a bit over time, but thank you so much to our panel. So we're going to go ahead and break off, and we're going to do some tours, all right? All right, thank you all very much. Can you give me instructions? So let's try to get 10 people per